Oh, yes. My favorite time once again, man. I am loving this. Oh, yes. What is going on for this Sunday night, January 29th, 2017? Remember the Rumble. I don't know about you guys, but now that this Royal Rumble is in the books, I am going to go on record. I'm not really going to remember anything about this particular Rumble. Although there is one thing that I'm pretty sure that I am going to remember going forward, which is the Royal Rumble is going to be happening next year in Philadelphia. So, I mean, that's like a 3 hour drive away from where I live. I'm thinking maybe next year I might actually go on out there. I mean, other than remembering that, I'm not really remembering anything else. Are you guys remembering this Rumble? I'd like to hear from you guys. But yeah, man, we're talking WWE World Rumble Fallout. We're doing a special simulcast for you guys live on Spreaker and also on YouTube right now. So feel free, wherever you are right now, we got chats available in both respective platforms. Sound off. Let me know what you had thought about tonight's Royal Rumble event, as we're going to definitely do our part getting folks caught up to speed for those that maybe have not checked it out just yet. I'll tell you what's cracking, Jose. Not this freaking Royal Rumble that we had got. Although, if I were to rate this Royal Rumble from what we had got from less than 24 hours ago with the NXT Takeover event, if I had to pick one or the other, I kind of got to give the edge just slightly to tonight's Royal Rumble. I thought that was a little bit better than the Takeover event, but yeah, man, I tell you, Roman Reigns, he's like Rodney Dangerfield. I tell you, I get no respect. I get no respect. I have never, man. You talk about hating. I mean, how do we really feel? Some of us, how do we really feel about Roman Reigns? Let's just, man, I'm speechless right now. Let's go ahead. Let's talk about this. All right, so where to begin? Let's talk about this pre-show that we had got. I don't know how many of you guys actually made the investment of checking out the 2 hour pre-show for the Royal Rumble. I actually did not check it out. I refused to check it out because I just felt that 2 hours was just way too long. I was all fine for the traditional 1 hour pre-show format before we get the actual pay-per-view. So I came in during the second hour, and I see I should have at least tried to make an investment, making sure I didn't miss too much during the first hour, because during the first hour of the pre-show, we apparently had got our six-woman tag match. For those of you that maybe were like, what's going on with that match? Yeah, Lee, what happened? Did it happen? Did it get canceled? No, that match actually did go down. It happened during the first hour of the pre-show. Did not see, can't say if it was a good match or not, but the team of Becky Lynch, Nikki Bella, and Naomi, they actually defeated the team of Alexa Bliss, Mickie James, and Natalya. Now, if you guys had checked out my Facebook Live edition video that I did offering predictions, how I would personally book it for the Royal Rumble this Sunday, you all know very, very well why I decided to go in favor of Alexa Bliss, Mickie James, and Natalya going over in that matchup. If you haven't checked it out yet, make sure you show it some proper love when you guys get a chance. But again, Becky Lynch, Nikki Bella, and Naomi, they defeated the team of Alexa Bliss, Mickie James, and Natalya. During the second and final hour of our pre-show, we had got the tag team titles for the WWE Raw Tag titles, where two referees were assigned to the match. Basically, these referees were trying to make sure that no weird shenanigans went down, that they didn't miss anything, any type of silliness that went down. They were going to be able to spot it, just basically trying to enforce that this match, it'd be clean, that we would get a clean finish, we would get a decisive winner without any type of controversy whatsoever. And I am just looking at some of the comments that we got coming in on YouTube, and I am telling you, man, a lot of people annoyed, a lot of people irritated. I think really with the Rumble itself, but again, keep the interactions coming. I'm just kicking back, reading what you guys are saying as y'all are commenting on the Rumble. And of course, any questions you all got for me, send them my way. But yeah, we got new Raw Tag Team Champions in Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson, man, as they defeated the team of Sheamus and Cesaro. Let's try to pick it up towards the end of the match. We had saw Anderson and Cesaro. They tangled a little bit. Anderson had connected with a nice, pretty sweet spine buster. Only was able to get a 2 count. Gallows had came in, tried to help out his partner as they tried to apply the magic killer. Sheamus was able to intervene. Cesaro then connected with a DDT on Gallows. We see a referee that went down inadvertently as a result of all of this craziness that was going down. So that left another referee to pretty much take over. We saw Cesaro connect with the Cesaro swing on Anderson. Cesaro then applied a sharpshooter. Gallows comes in with a big boot to the face to break that submission hold up. Anderson had tried to go in for a cover, only received a 2 count as Sheamus was able to successfully get back in the ring, break that up. Gallows and Sheamus, they brawled. A lot more confusion as the referee is trying to keep track of what all is going down, but he does know who is the legal man. As we had saw Gallows connect Sheamus, his face and all that with a kick. Sheamus then eats a magic killer. As Gallows and Anderson, they would end up getting the pin for the victory. Gallows, Anderson, your new WWE Raw Tag Team Champion. So how do I personally feel about this? Well, anybody that's been checking out the show, the podcast show, which, by the way, you can check me out live every Tuesday night, 10 p.m. Eastern on Spreaker.com. Soon as SmackDown goes off the air, where we talk about the latest and what's been going down in WWE, TNA, Ring of Honor, wrestling headlines, a little bit of pop culture news beyond. You know how we do it. Talk a little bit about everything. I have been a vocal force in favor of Luke Gallows, Carl Anderson being put in a position where they have an opportunity to run as the tag team champions. And I think we can all be in agreement. When they first came up on the main WWE Raw flagship show, it seemed very promising, especially when they were paired up with AJ Styles. It was kind of like, oh, all right. They were kind of staggering a little bit there, but I tell you what, AJ got in there. He kind of like set the tone. Then we saw Gallows, Anderson. They come in, and you're like, yeah, this is going to be okay. This is going to be on point. Very short-lived, though, man. I mean, they were not a union that long, but they just had natural chemistry together, and it was a little bit kind of nerve-wracking that WWE had split those guys up so quickly. But at the same time, you can make the argument that they saw a lot of marketability with AJ Styles, and that it made a lot more sense to just run with AJ as a solo act and let Anderson and Gallows fly solo, see what they can do respectively. And they were staggering there for many months, man. It was just like, and I know I wasn't the only one, because not to kind of beat the horse to death, but I got to. When you just consider what all they did in New Japan Pro Wrestling, and then take it a step further, just what they've done respectfully for other wrestling promotions they've had the opportunity to work for, their work has been really, really solid amongst wrestling fans that can appreciate all forms of wrestling from good talents from various promotions. So it was nerve-wracking to see these guys in WWE, after 2-3 months, and it's like creative booking just like forgot about these guys, quite honestly. Definitely nerve-wracking. So no matter the case, I always stayed the course with regards to Anderson and Gallows. I always said, nah, WWE, they got to get behind these guys. These guys are, they're freaking awesome. Look at the work that they did before they came to the WWE. You can capitalize on that, and for me, and I remember vividly as if it were yesterday, saying that with regards to Anderson and Gallows, they're younger than Bully Ray, than Devon, And it made a lot of sense to go on ahead and give them a run as tag champions. But it just seemed like every time we turned around, I think timing was always there. And WWE should have struck while the iron was hot. But after all these months, they finally pulled the trigger. Am I happy for these guys? Yes. Is it a little bit like too late? It's pretty late. But I'm very curious to see going forward now. And I think this is what we all that are Gallows and Anderson fans, it's great that they're the tag champions, but I think the real tale is going to be how are they going to be booked going forward? That's going to be the real tale in itself. So curious to see how that's going to be coming, if they're going to be given more stronger writing, booking opportunities as a result. You know, a lot's going to happen. We're going to know. We're going to know when we get this first episode of Raw post Royal Rumble in about less than 24 hours. We'll know how that comes about. But I thought that was a pretty good tag team match for the Raw tag titles. They held it down. They did pretty good. A little bit of dissension, if you will, between Cesaro, Sheamus. You know, can they continue to get on the same page? Well, I tell you what, from what we had saw of the two guys as they were in the Rumble, respectfully, later on in the night, they worked pretty well together, I must say. So I am not quite sure that they're done just yet as a tag team. There's probably a little bit more life in them, but we'll wait and see what happens with regards to that. Next up, we had Nia Jax take on Sasha Banks. I like by now there were definitely a lot of you guys, in addition to me, that was saying, "Wow, Sasha Banks on a pay-per-view card? Like, what the hell? Shouldn't? Wow, why? What's going on?" Very odd that way, like, just Nia Jax, I could kind of understand, but to see Sasha Banks as many times as she had headlined a few pay-per-view shows, mainly with Charlotte, main event at the Raws, main event at a pay-per-view a couple of months back. I mean, just constantly there in the main event picture. Here she is on the pre-show. It was just really, for me personally, I just really kind of had to take a step back and say, wow, this is actually a pre-show match. And I'm still sticking to my guns. I feel that this is only temporarily. Sasha Banks fans should not worry. I personally feel they are going to get back into the, what the hell am I reading here? Just reading some of the comments here on YouTube. I don't know. I may have to assign a moderator. We'll see how that goes. But no, seriously, I still personally feel that we have not seen the last of Sasha Banks in the main event picture for that women's title. Mark my words on that. I think when it's all said and done, we're probably going to see some type of a triple threat, maybe even a fatal four-way for that title. So we'll see how that all pans out. It was a decent match, surprising finish, as we had saw Nia Jax pick up the W. I was a little bit taken back by that because I was not expecting for Nia to get it, considering how she's just been running rough shots on Sasha Banks within the past several weeks. And I thought for certain, just storyline wise, that Sasha Banks was going to come back on the rebound. She was going to make Nia Jax pay for all of those weeks that she's been ambushed by her. But no, it didn't go down that way. And so I'm only left to one conclusion, which is, well, good minute now, WWE, they've really been showing their appreciation, their support for Nia Jax. They've really been trying to get behind her. If they really want to get behind her, just to follow up on what I said less than 24 hours ago, they got to change my girl's music. I'm telling you, especially after I saw my girl Nikki Cross at the TakeOver event the other day, and I know she basically was coming out to the Sanity Stable music, but look, that music, when I just think about that, even China's music, I mean, it wasn't necessarily menacing, but it fit her. It fit her perfectly, man. Perfectly. Karma, when she was in the WWE, the music she had, that fit. Even Beth Phoenix, what she was coming out to, that was on point as well. But they got to do something with the Nia Jax music, man. I got to see that switch up. But these two girls, they had a decent match. I mean, it was really nothing that you could really sink your teeth into, as it was a pretty short match. Once you got past the entrance themes, it was about, if you're lucky, a 4 minute match. So really freaking short. Can't really comment anymore on that. Actual pay-per-view card, we go now. Charlotte successfully defended her Raw Women's title against Bayley. Crowd really starting to really come alive, I personally feel. Now, don't get me wrong, they were kind of interactive during the pre-show matches, but that's pre-show. Everybody's still grabbing some food, the drinks, getting the bathroom stuff out the way, trying to do what they can to get to their seats so they can get nice and comfortable. So for me, it's always boiling down to, okay, actual pay-per-view card, how's the crowd? And I gotta say, for the most part, tonight, crowd was pretty into it. They were definitely vocal. Felt like many times they were kind of sitting on their hands, though. But for the most part, I'll give them a passing grade. They were pretty vocal. It was a good crowd. But Charlotte, Bayley, good encounter right here. I mean, come on. These girls, I had the fortunate pleasure of watching them throw it down in NXT. So for me personally, I already knew what to expect from these two girls. Only this go round, it's on a much bigger stage. And I tell you, the chemistry that they had going on in NXT, I thought they picked up right where they had left off. Charlotte, again, defeating Bayley. She continues her pay-per-view streak with regards to the championship. She now goes 16-0, believe it or not. And follow in on some of the closing moments of that respected match. As we had saw Bayley, she was trying to get back on the offense, trying to make a nice little comeback. Charlotte was able to just derail that, though. Bayley connected with a nice springboard crossbody. Bayley coming in a few more offensive moves. Bayley actually managed to drop Charlotte on her face. Then they took the fight to the top rope, but that really didn't play out the way that Charlotte would have liked it to play out, as we saw Bayley stomp on Charlotte, try to go in for a pin, only managed to get a 2 count. We then saw Charlotte manage to apply the figure 4, but we soon saw Bayley manage to turn that around, flip it on her. Charlotte then reversed it into a figure 8, tried to use the ropes for leverage. Referee saw it, wasn't flying by. A little bit more back and forth. Match just pretty much ended when Charlotte did a natural selection to Bayley, like out of nowhere, on the apron. I mean, it was wicked. That match alone, just to see how that had finished out, is worth alone seeing, because it was just like, damn, it was almost kind of like a RKO out of nowhere type of moment. I had enjoyed it. It was a good finish. They had a really good, as I said yesterday, this is basically Act 1 as far as their official jumpstart to their pay-per-view feuds. Don't get it twisted. Yes, we've seen them lock it up a feud times on Raw, but this is the first true opening act as far as seeing them on the pay-per-view card. So I'm still sticking to my guns. I think when it's all said and done, Bayley is going to have her awesome WrestleMania moment when she becomes the new women's champion for the Raw side of things. So that's just where I stand on that. Some of you may disagree with that, but I'm sticking to my guns on that one. That's the route that I feel is going to be coming about. I want to take this time. Thank you guys that's checking out the simulcast right now. We're coming at you guys live right now on YouTube. Also coming at you live on Spreaker. I just want to take this time because a lot of you guys are doing your thing, whether it's on YouTube or you're doing your thing on Spreaker. I just want to poke my head in there, acknowledge you guys, call some of you guys out, read some of the comments that we got coming in. Right now, I see like, okay, let's stick to Royal Rumble talk for starters. Otherwise, I'm going to have to turn on the moderator joint because I see this one question. It's a great question. Really, it is. But if we ain't talking Royal Rumble, we need to save that for Tuesday night where we can't talk about that. But I'm in YouTube, the chat right now, seeing what some of you guys are saying. And I like what Joker had to say. Joker basically said they literally hyped this Royal Rumble match with Brock Lesnar, Goldberg, and Undertaker. Whoa, just lost you. There you are. Just for them to show up in the last 5 spots only to get eliminated pretty quickly, in my opinion. I think that opinion is very valid, because let me tell you something. When it came to that Royal Rumble match, which we'll be talking about in a good hot minute, because there's not really that many more other matches to talk about, I can't tell you how much disdain that I had saw on my Twitter timeline of people that were just ripping the hell. Basically, when they were able to kind of figure out, okay, this seems to be how things are going to be playing out towards the end of the Royal Rumble, basically when all 30 participants are out there. And yeah, a lot of people pretty upset about it. And one constant theme that I'm seeing right now, no Laura, and that is the theme that I'm seeing from a lot of people, which was basically the Royal Rumble, bunch of bullshit, bunch of BS. So just rewinding back a little bit, got to show some love to Gunny Yo 50. Of all the possible winners for the Royal Rumble this year, really, with Cena winning the WWE title from AJ Styles, which we'll talk about in a second, I don't want to see another Cena versus Orton match at WrestleMania 2017. So poke my head in the Spreaker chat, see what some of you guys are saying over there respectfully. Again, give me your comments. Let me know what you had thought about tonight's WWE Royal Rumble event. You can also post some questions, Royal Rumble related, or if you want to talk WWE stuff, definitely post your comments in there as well. Shout out to Joe, Reza, and Freddie that's over in the chat right now on Spreaker. I'm seeing what you guys are saying. Just summing it up in a nutshell right here. Looking on Spreaker here, I don't see anything juicy just yet, except for one thing, which is what a lot of people have been saying, and I was really taken back by this. No surprise entrance in this year's Royal Rumble, just to give you guys a little bit of a heads up. Again, we'll talk about that in a hot second, but for now, let's talk about some of these other matches we got. We only got about 3 more matches before we talk about the Rumble, so let's have at it. So our next matchup on the card, we had Kevin Owens. He defeated Roman Reigns to retain his WWE Universal title, as Chris Jericho was suspended in a shark cage above the ring. Great storytelling that they were able to execute in this match, I personally felt. I told you guys the other day, somehow, some way, and it really should have been no surprise, but somehow, some way, Chris Jericho was going to figure out some angle to help out his buddy, Kevin Owens. And we saw at one point, Chris Jericho had a pair of brass knuckles that he pulled from his pocket, waistline, whatever, and was able to drop it to Kevin Owens, who first go round wasn't able to connect to Roman Reigns, but the second go round he was able to do it. And I tell you, I was a little bit nervous when I was watching this match, because it was like, okay, so we've seen Roman Reigns go through a pop-up power bomb. Okay, we've seen Roman Reigns take a devastating punch to the face with some brass knucks. I mean, we just saw Roman Reigns kick out of like some pretty devastating moves, and we're like, this doesn't really look too good. Is the story that's going to be told in this match Roman Reigns just basically connecting with like one big move, and that's pretty much the end of it? And that actually was not the story that they had told. Oh, by the way, for those of you that may have been curious about the crowd reactions for this particular matchup, San Antonio crowd loved them some Kevin Owens. They loved them some Chris Jericho. Roman Reigns, they booed the hell out of that man. They were not feeling him whatsoever, but it wasn't as bad as it would be later on in the night. A little bit of a tease right there. I mean, you had a lot of boos for Roman Reigns during this matchup from the moment that he came out, making his way down to the ring, but it was almost kind of mixed, I would have to say. It was almost mixed, but the majority really wasn't feeling Roman. But it was actually a really damn good matchup. Let's home in on the closing moments of this particular matchup for you guys. As again, good classic encounter that we had right there with these two, or technically three. Pick it up towards the end. We had Saw Reigns. He actually had tried to bring a table into the picture, brought it from under the ring. He tried to set it up in a corner. Owens came in, tried to do a roll up from behind, will only manage to get a 2 count. Reigns then connected with a Superman punch. Owens goes down. Reigns goes in for the cover. Only a 2 count at that point. Reigns at this point is ready to connect with a spear as he's looking to spear Kevin Owens through a table, but Owens manages to kick him and just out of nowhere connects with a Stone Cold Stunner. That had a lot of people really just in euphoria when they saw that go down. So awesome moment. I will say it was kind of nice seeing at many points during some of these matches that we had, there was like little nods to certain stars of yesteryears that made the Royal Rumble so famous. So it was nice seeing the Stone Cold Stunner spot that we had Charlotte, the reference to Ric Flair when he won the Rumble and all that. That was a nice little nod as well. So little things like that we were getting sprinkled all throughout the night. So Owens, later on in this matchup, closing moments again, he was able to connect with a corner cannonball. Goes to the top, tried to go for a superplex through a chair of, it was a mountain of chairs that Owens had set up earlier, but Reigns had actually countered that and sent Owens going into that mountain of steel chairs instead. Had the fans just really eating that up. They enjoyed that tremendously. Jericho, never able to get out of this cage. For those of you that did not see it, you're curious if he got out. He did not get out of the steel cage. Other than the brass knuckles that he tried to give to Owens from the heavens above, Jericho really was not that much of a factor in this. So we saw Reigns. He goes for a big powerbomb maneuver as he put Kevin Owens through a announcer's table successfully. Owens just out of it. And at this point, Reigns was just looking to get Owens in the ring, try to go for the cover. As actually, right before the cover, he put him in the ring, and he actually was ready to do a spear. And as he was gearing up for it, Braun Strowman, of all people, came in, attacked Roman Reigns, and everything was okay in this match. Anything goes, basically. So Braun Strowman comes in, beats the crap out of him, gives him a choke slam, sends him flying through a announcer's table. Braun rolls Reigns into the ring, follows it up with a big running power slam through the table that was already set up in the corner of the ring. Owens just basically crawled over, picked up the W that way. So I like the continuity. This kind of goes back to what I was saying less than 24 hours ago, and actually what I've been saying off and on for the past couple of months now with regards to the flagship show Raw, which is the storyline continuity. You got to keep it consistent. You got to make sure you plug in all those gaps. Everything has to make sense. And I love the fact that I didn't even have to stop and think why Braun was doing it. I already remembered off the break. Oh yeah, Braun, yeah. Couple of weeks back, he owes Roman Reigns, and it was actually nice to hear the commentators connect the dots for the fans. So you got a little bit of seeds that were planted to kind of backtrack on what happened in previous weeks, and now you get to try to see how things are going to be playing out when you get ready to watch Raw in less than 24 hours. So interesting direction that's happening at this point right here, as it comes off as though Roman Reigns, Braun Strowman have a little bit of unfinished business, so to speak. But again, Roman Reigns, not on this night. He did not get the WWE Universal title. So next up, we got our last, well, actually, no, we got our 2 more matches to go. I was getting ready to talk about the WWE Championship match, but actually before that, we had got the Cruiserweight Championship match between Neville and Rich Swann. We got a new Cruiserweight champion in Neville, as Neville is now the king of the Cruiserweights. You got to say it like that. You can't say king of the Cruiserweights. You got to make it come off as if king of all kings, king of the world. You know, with Neville, you got to go king of the Cruiserweights. He is now the Cruiserweight champion. Long time coming. Long time coming. This goes back to like right before the Cruiserweight tournament even had commenced, when it came down to who all were going to be the participants for this tournament. I expected my man Neville was going to be involved. He was not involved in the tournament. I'm going, okay, no problem. Then we hear there's going to be a 205 show. Okay, well, surely Neville will be part of that initially, and he was not part of that initially. And it was just a case of, anybody seen Neville? Haven't seen Neville around here lately. What's going on with Neville? So it was really nice to finally see him get involved in this, because Neville is such a great freaking talent. I have always seen this guy's praises. I've been giving this guy praise since watching him in NXT. I know what he's capable of, especially if you have him flip it and he's a bad guy. I mean, he does it so freaking well. So I was ecstatic, and, you know, not to repeat myself just repeatedly here, because I've said it many times. I've gone on record many times, but for newer listeners, you know, that maybe aren't quite connecting the dots, I think y'all would definitely have to be in agreement that have watched the Cruiserweights, whether it's on Raw or you're watching 205. It's just, it ain't been going good so far. You know, everything that was right with the tournament that we got initially hasn't translated into this weekly series, sadly. And it's really unfortunate, because there's a lot of great, talented folks that make up this Cruiserweight division that are doing this whole 205 thing, but the execution, it's just crappy. And, you know, it doesn't, that's the sad part. It's almost like when you're watching these guys in the ring, I think tonight may have been one of those rare occasions in like a span of many weeks that we've had the Cruiserweights on our TVs now, where, hey, this was actually a really good match. This was actually on point. Thoroughly enjoyed it. All right. And the fact that there is a lack of consistency, when you have a lack of consistency and then you have poor storytelling, and then you don't necessarily have the right people in place to make you, the TV viewer, want to give a damn about that particular matchup that you're going to be seeing, or, oh, wait, Cruiserweights are coming on. I mean, now the running gag, and it's quite sad, but let's go there. Now, the Cruiserweights is equivalent to your traditional Divas match from a couple of years back. That's the point where we're at right now. So when the Cruiserweights come on, everybody's going, oh, time for a piss break. That's how they're doing it. So I would really, in 2017, I would really love to see the Cruiserweights really excel. And I just personally feel that with Neville at the helm now, they cannot do wrong. I mean, hell, you already tried TJ Perkins. That really didn't work out. Love the guy, talented as hell, but it just didn't work out when it's all said and done. Not all on him. He can only take but a certain percentage of the blame, but it's not all on him. You go to Brian Kendrick, have always been a fan of Brian Kendrick, loved his work tremendously, have followed his career all over the place. Talented as hell, one of the most underrated guys I feel that's out there. There should have been a lot more happening for his career, especially during his first go around in the WWE. But when he had his go as the Cruiserweight champion, respectfully, that did not go well. And I think that was just mainly because of how the storytelling was done in the way they portrayed him to the WWE universe. Not all on Kendrick, but again, he too has to take a certain percentage of the blame, but it's not all on him entirely. So they've already tried two experiments right there. Then you go with Rich Swann, and I got nothing but love for Rich Swann, especially since he's from here in the DMV area. Got a lot of love for him. Very familiar with his work. Fan of his work way before he came into the WWE. But respectfully, even that experiment just was not. And I think in Rich Swann's case, it was mainly because, just to follow up on what I said recently, it was like watching Junkyard Dog 2.0, Ron the Truth Killings 2.0 all over again. You just think about all the black people that we've seen in the WWE over the years, shucking and jiving and, you know, all that other silliness. You're like, okay, can we get something new? Because this is played out. We've seen this many times already. So can we get something new? So to finally have a guy like Neville step up to the plate, and he's given the opportunity, they can do no wrong at this point. They've already struck out 3 times. Neville, if they do this right, he may be the true saving grace for the Cruiserweight division. You know, and just anybody else notice? No TJ Perkins on Raw these past couple of weeks. And I don't know if he's been popping up on 205 because I watched a couple of episodes and I just was not feeling it. Will I watch 205 now that Neville is the Cruiserweight champion? Yeah, because I'm curious to see, you know, what's going to be happening with him storyline wise. So I will try to tolerate it just to see what goes down with that. But I expect nothing but positive things that'll happen as a result of Neville being the Cruiserweight champion in a way that hopefully it'll have a domino effect. And I do mean a big domino effect. Just everything that he was able to accomplish when he was in NXT, you know, there's enough right there. I mean, the guy's talented as hell. All he needs is the right booking and the right storytelling. And I mean, the pieces are already there as far as the talent. Talent is there. Damn good talent at that. So the talent's not the problem. It's just everything else in between, man. So good matchup right there. Yeah, it was a good matchup. Let's tell you how that one had pretty much wrapped up. Bring it in on the closing moments of that one. Towards the end, we had saw Neville. He tried to climb up for a superplex, but Rich Swann was able to fight that off successfully. They both ended up on the mat. Swann had connected with a big kick. Neville then came right back with a super kick of his own. Neville tried to go for a maneuver, but Swann countered, did a roll up, only managed to get a 2 count. Swann had almost put Neville away with another kick, but Neville had got his foot on the bottom rope. Referee had saw that luckily. Swann was able to keep control, but for the most part, but Neville actually ended up running to the top and nailed with a big superplex, only received a 2 count. Neville would then go straight into a submission hold in the middle of the ring that actually had forced Rich Swann to tap out to become your new Cruiserweight champion. That was actually a really damn good matchup. I must admit, damn good matchup. Let's go to what I consider to be, honestly, a match of the year candidate. Now, there's a big difference between match of the year winner. We can't say winner. I mean, come on. It's still January. We're still into the new year. But I think it does deserve an honorable mention for match of the year candidate. I feel AJ Styles, John Cena. This was a damn good matchup. A lot of people being very vocal about this matchup. I mean, you look at the story that was told going into this matchup, and the last burning image that we have in our minds is what went down on SmackDown this week, where John Cena just verbally cut down into little bitty teeny pieces AJ Styles, and you're like, and it definitely ruffled the feathers of some that are involved in the wrestling business. That was like, man, nah, that's just silly the way that they just had AJ just stand there and just take that verbal abuse like that. He should have came right back with something witty, like what the hell. So you look at all that dissing that was going on, man, and I don't know, maybe it was just me, but when I looked at all that verbal dissing that was going down with Styles in that ring, I truly believe that AJ had to go into tonight's match and become a guy that could have the bragging rights of, hey, I beat John Cena by myself, not once, but like twice, like legitimately, I beat him, and I beat him on the grandest stage of them all. For me, I just really felt as though with AJ Styles going into this year's Royal Rumble, and he's the WWE champion, that there was more at stake, that a victory for Styles, storyline wise, right? Just storyline wise, it would validate the run that he's had in the WWE. It would pretty much put a book year to what has been a fantastic year for this guy. I mean, you want to talk about breakout star of the year, even though he's up there in age. Yeah, AJ Styles definitely deserving of that, just the great run that he's had. So I was really, really perplexed that the title went to John Cena. Don't get me wrong, damn good matchup. I love the fact that both men did all of their signature moves, did their finishers, not once, but like twice, and they were kicking out. I mean, it was a good, strong, dominating back and forth. I loved it. I mean, really, really great storytelling, man. And I like the fact that a lot of people, even though they were a little bit upset that AJ did not retain, I love the fact that they say, you know what? And a lot of people felt the same way I did, which was it was a great back and forth. It was equally balanced when both guys were on the offense. Hey, good matchup. It was all said and done. And it was truly a really good matchup. Closing moments of this matchup, we had saw Cena. He tried to apply a AA. AJ had managed to counter that, turned it into a calf crusher. Cena managed to get AJ in a STF. I mean, they were pretty much just like trading submission holds for submission holds throughout this matchup, which was like just freaking fantastic. We saw Cena. He tried to pull AJ back into the middle of the ring, but the first go around, AJ had managed to grab the bottom rope. A little bit more back and forth. Cena dragged him into the middle of the ring, had that STF locked in. Somehow, AJ was able to counter that, turn that into a submission maneuver, of which Cena was able to power out of it. We saw Cena, he tried to go for another double AA, attitude adjustment, but AJ managed to counter that. And a lot of series of submission holds, a lot of counters going down here. We saw at one point Cena managed to power out of a hold and slammed AJ. From there, Cena tried to climb to the top of the rope while AJ was down. Looked as though maybe he was going to try to go for maybe a leg drop, but AJ managed to block it. AJ then tries to apply the Styles Clash, connects, but only receives a 2 count. We then saw Cena successfully block a 450 splash with his knees, and that pretty much had messed up Styles big time. Cena was able to connect with a destroyer for a near 2 count. A lot of back and forth again going down. We saw Cena catapult AJ into the corner, nailed him with a cutter for a 2 count. Cena then takes AJ to the second rope for a super attitude adjustment that does connect, goes in for the cover. That was a 2 count. Fans were just eating this up from the moment go. I mean, they were just ape shit crazy over this matchup that they had saw. And from there, we see Cena in disbelief. Like, what the hell I got to do to take this guy down? What the hell? We eventually saw AJ crawl to the apron, and somehow he was able to connect with a phenomenal forearm, but Cena blocked it, turned it into an attitude adjustment, was able to connect that time, and AJ Styles sadly lost his WWE title. So your new champion, and you will be told to believe that John Cena has now tied Ric Flair for the 16-time world champion record. I loved it, man. It was nice. It was a really damn good match. No doubt, AJ Styles, he's got that rematch that's going to be coming to him. So is AJ maybe going to get involved at Elimination Chamber? Is maybe his title shot going to come in that form? Or is it going to be a case where AJ Styles is going to be waiting for whoever walks out, still the WWE champion, come Elimination Chamber to challenge them at WrestleMania? I would like to believe that that's probably going to be the scenario that's going to be going down. Contrary to some of the ideas that other people have maybe in store for John Cena at Mania, as far as who he might be defending that title against. Look, man, when it's all said and done, if you ask me personally, would I have loved to seen AJ Styles going to WrestleMania as a WWE champion? You bet your ass. You bet your ass. But I'm just trying to think from that business standpoint, because I do have that business thinking cap and all that. I'm always trying to figure out ways to put myself in a position where monetization wise, I can get the most profit as possible on whatever things I tend to embark on, my little endeavors or whatever. WrestleMania season, you got to put as many eyes on the product as possible. John Cena may not be a household name like a Hulk Hogan or a Stone Cold Steve Austin, but he does have his freaking fan base. And I mean, you know, WWE has to capitalize on that. I think, quite honestly, the real travesty, I'm surprised WWE has not tried to capitalize on John Cena sooner. I mean, you had many opportunities where John Cena was going to the Today Show. Like, okay, you couldn't put the belt around him then. You had opportunities where John Cena was going to some, Nickelodeon event, some red carpet event. You could have did it then. You didn't do it then. When he was getting ready to go host SNL, you had the opportunities to go do it then. You didn't do it then. So, a lot of missed opportunities for WWE as far as brand awareness, trying to put more eyes on the product as possible. But say what you will, when it comes to WrestleMania season, WWE always like, okay, let's try to go with what's safe. And I think also it's one of those scenarios where I think honestly, Vince McMahon and crew, they're going, you know what, man, we ain't gonna have John Cena forever. The guy's 39. He's going to be 40 later this year. He's winding down. This may be it. This may be his one last hoorah of if not the last hoorah, this may be his one of two last hoorahs. So I'm all fine for it. My whole thing is, and see, this is why I'm perfectly fine with it, is because and my phone is just like blowing up like a motherfucker right now. You know how you're like doing your thing and you get somebody that'll just do like a shitload of retweets, like back to back to back to back to back. I hate when that shit happens, especially like when you're in the middle of something and you're trying not to lose your train of thought and somebody just comes in, retweet, retweet, retweet. I just got like 8 fucking retweets in like 10 seconds. I hate when that shit happens. Anyway, I still have my train of thought. Remember when John Cena was the United States champion? That was a damn good run, right? I mean, he had damn good quality matches. The point I'm making is I am all fine with a John Cena as the WWE champion. One little thing. I want to put an asterisk by it. For as long as AJ Styles was going in there, throwing it down and everything, going to the house shows, all that good jazz, I need to see John Cena in that same position as well. Now, we've had John Cena be very vocal in interviews saying, man, I'm not really too keen on some of these people that's coming in and they're getting like 6 figures and they're only showing up for like 3 dates and they're not working any house shows or whatnot. They're working like about maybe 3-4 Raws and they're getting 6 figures. What the hell is up with that? That's not really cool. That's not really fair. Well, to kind of quote somebody that's no longer with the WWE, change doesn't happen if you're just sitting on your ass. You got to roll up your sleeves. You got to get yourself involved. The only way you can make change is from within. So honestly, If Cena goes in there, as long as Cena is going in there and he's going in there full time, I have no problem. I have no problem with him being the WWE champion. I just want for WWE, now that we're like 63 days away from WrestleMania, I just want for WWE to do, and they always do it brilliantly, which is putting as many eyes on their product as possible when WrestleMania season is upon us. So by them putting the strap on Cena, I got no problem with it. But at the same time, you got to make sure that with a guy like AJ Styles, and I don't want people, look, you're talking to a longtime AJ Styles fan, been a fan of this guy for many, many, many years. Seen a big bulk of his stuff in in TNA wrestling, and I've always sung the praises of AJ Styles. I wish we would have had AJ Styles in the WWE a lot sooner. It did not play out that way, sadly. But I mean, just to see this late in his career, how he has just had a phenomenal, no pun intended, but a phenomenal freaking year that he's had in the WWE. I mean, honestly, we as fans collectively, especially those of us that have passionately followed the career of AJ Styles, we should not be ashamed. This is my message to you guys. We should not be ashamed. We should not be upset that AJ lost the strap. If anything, we say, you know what, man, you're almost 40 years old. You went in there, you went at it hard. You did all the house shows, you did everything that was asked of you to do, and you kept hitting home runs. You proved to the WWE that you are a impact player and that you are reliable. So, I mean, I think we as fans, we need to rejoice in that. And I'm not a betting man, but if I were, WWE upper brass is not done with AJ Styles, not by a freaking long shot. I still believe that there's big plans for this guy. Could it maybe mean he gets a piece of The Undertaker? I know some people maybe don't want to see AJ Styles seen at WrestleMania because maybe they feel, look, these matchups are good, but do I really want to see this again, or do I really want to see something new? I'm telling you, man, they're gonna reward that type of work that AJ Styles has been putting in. They have been rewarding him, but I always have personally believed, as somebody that has friends that are involved in the wrestling business and the stories that I wish I could tell you, but I can't. If there's one thing that a wrestling promotion likes tremendously, it's that when it's time for you to do business, and it's time for you to do something that you may not want to do, but you got to do it for the better good of the company. So you're being a team player as a result. Depending on the promoter, if it's a really good employer and they treat their talents on point, they remember shit like that. They remember, hey, when we needed to do business, this guy, this girl, they were on point. That's how you become a good, steady, reliable hand. So, we'll see. We'll see where this goes in a couple of weeks. But I don't think we all should be jumping the gun just yet. Just going, AJ Styles, WTF? Oh, I don't think we need to be, freaking out just yet, man. So we got that match out the way. We got one more thing to talk about, man, and that is the Royal Rumble match. Oh, where do I begin? Can I start with Stephanie McMahon? Bipolar Stephanie McMahon, she returned. And this is what I mean by storyline consistency. Okay? I've been just beating this to death when it comes to the Raw flagship show. Once in a while, SmackDown will have its but Raw, for the most part, there's a lot of inconsistency. So let me see if I got this straight. So the cab driver, Sami Zayn, he has this scene backstage earlier in the night where he freaking goes and he goes to the turner, the tumbler. He gets his Royal Rumble number, and we've got Stephanie McMahon. She's actually happy to see him. She's patting him on the back. She's saying hello to him. She's asking him how he's doing. Sami Zayn finds out that his Royal Rumble number is 8. And Stephanie's like, 8's not a bad number. That's not a bad number at all. And then you've got Daniel Bryan, you've got Shane McMahon, you've got Mick Foley. They're all saying, yeah, 8 is not a bad number. That's pretty freaking good, man. That's a decent number. And I'm just kind of going, wait a minute. This is the same Stephanie McMahon. Was it earlier this week via a conference call or whatever? Yeah. Earlier this week, Stephanie McMahon on the conference call had a serious problem with Sami Zayn requesting to get in the Royal Rumble match and basically ordered Mick Foley to put Sami Zayn in a match against Seth Rollins, where basically if Sami defeated Seth Rollins, he would get Rollins' Royal Rumble spot. Not sure what the number is, but he would get Seth Rollins' spot. And then you just think back to just all the passionate stare downs that Stephanie has had with Sami Zayn, telling him, yeah, I wanted to fire your ass, but Mick Foley, he wants to keep you. He wants to, continue to give you the opportunity. So I obliged him. So Stephanie has really let it be shown that she has this great disdain for Sami Zayn. And now all of a sudden tonight, I'm just supposed to forget all of that went down and that she's truly happy to see Sami Zayn. She's truly happy that he is number 8 in the Royal Rumble. That was just the stupidest freaking thing that I ever saw in my entire life. It was stupid. Moving on to the Royal Rumble itself, I'm going to come at this in a way where you guys are going to be like, Lee, I didn't even think about that. I'm glad you brought that up. So let's talk about the entrance, right? Again, no surprise entrance, no immortal Hulk Hogan, no Kurt Angle, right? No Jeff Hardy, no Matt Hardy, no Rey Mysterio, no Finn Balor. No Finn Balor, and the reports are out there that Finn Balor is 100% healthy, supposedly. Okay. But no Finn Balor. Okay. And we're supposed to remember the Rumble. Well, a lot of us are remembering the Rumble right now for all the wrong reasons. We're remembering that this Rumble is, quite honestly, let's be for real, this Rumble was some shit. And this Rumble was some shit because of the booking. Again, storyline continuity. Do we need to bring back something we haven't done in a good while? Stupid booking 101. And this Rumble match was the finest case of stupid booking 101. So I have been saying for the past couple of months now, and I said it as early as Saturday, if I were booking the Royal Rumble, once Braun Strowman gets in there, the fans are behind Braun Strowman. They love them some Braun Strowman. They know that when Braun Strowman comes out, he is the most powerful, menacing looking guys that's out there. When he comes out, you go, oh shit, I got to see what this guy is doing. This guy stands 6'8", weighs about 365 pounds. When you do your research on him, you go, wow, this guy was a former strongman champion? Yeah, he looks like a damn strongman champion. Okay. And then you find out, oh, hey, he used to be a Rosebud. And you see just this incredible journey that he's been able to come on. 33 years of age. Young, still moldable. Career looks so freaking promising. I said to you guys, if I'm booking the Rumble, when I have Braun Strowman come in, he's dominating. I've got him eliminating guys left and right. He's doing such a serious number. There may be some gang ups on him for a little bit, but you want to talk about passing the torch a little bit. Bump passing the torch. You want to talk about paying it forward. If I'm booking this, I'm going to have Braun Strowman take out Mark Henry. I'm going to have him take out The Big Show. Kane normally makes an appearance during the Rumbles. Well, we didn't get Kane this year, but I even said, put Kane out there. Braun's going to eliminate him. Somehow put Braun in a position where he's able to capitalize on this feud, this thing that's going down between Goldberg and Brock Lesnar, right? Somehow he's able to get both of those guys out of the ring. But you let him have a good, strong, dominating performance. Now, WWE, I will give them a lot of credit. They did it right with the first part. They made sure that he had a good, strong, dominating performance. The only thing to that equation, they did not continue to see it through. I don't know who was booking this, but it was stupid the way that they booked this. So that's how I would do Braun Strowman. I even took it a step further. I said you had Roman Reigns. He did the new record. What was it in 2014, guys? 2014. His record is now 12 eliminations. That's the most elimination records. I said, nah, let Braun surpass that. Let him get it by 1 or let him get it by 2, but definitely let him get the record this year. Shows a lot of promise. You want to put a lot of eyes. You want to get people talking. That's how you do it. That's how you build. So to recap, Braun Strowman eliminated the following people. Just pull this up. He eliminated the following people. Pull this up on my phone here because I made sure I got this down. It's not a long list too. These are the people that Braun Strowman eliminated. Kalisto, Big Cass, Conan O'Brien. No, not really Conan O'Brien. Gallagher. Jack Gallagher, Mark Henry, Ellsworth, Ty Dillinger. That was a great little spot with Ty Dillinger at number 10, and he comes out. But did anybody else notice after Ty had came out, because everybody was doing the 10, once you heard the music hit and he comes out, they're excited. Once he gets in the ring, they're pretty much silent. So, I mean, for me, don't get me wrong. And I know that this is going to be a really big talk amongst a lot of fans now. Oh, should Ty go to Raw or should Ty go to SmackDown? Look at the reaction that he got. Let's remember that a majority of the crowd that was there tonight for the Rumble, 9 times out of 10 was the same crowd that just saw Ty Dillinger less than 24 hours ago at the TakeOver event Saturday night. So the real tale is going to be how will it translate to bigger crowds in various cities. I think that is the real tale. Now, based on what we saw tonight, is he worthy of like a one-shot appearance on an episode of Raw and or SmackDown just to see how the crowd engages him, how they react to him? Is definitely worth that. And then maybe you go from there. But I wouldn't be so quick to be like, oh, should he go to Raw? Oh, well, are they going to put him on? Take it one step at a time, guys. You always got to remember, just because you're seeing the reactions that you're getting on TV, you got to just always kind of think, wait a minute. And like I said, majority of that crowd was probably at the NXT event. So you got to think like that. So you got all of these eliminations that had went down by Braun Strowman. And you're going, okay, this is pretty good. He's off to a good start. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He's got 7 eliminations. This is good, right? But then out of nowhere, he gets eliminated by Boring Corbin. Boring Corbin. That is my new name for him. My girl will tell you, I was so pissed off when I saw this go down. So you want for me and many other fans that's out there that has a pair of eyeballs, works just fine. They know what they see every single week on their programming. They know what they like. You're trying to tell me and the majority of fans that's out there that we give more of a damn about Boring Corbin than we do about Braun Strowman. I'm led to believe this. I'm sorry, guys. I'm having a hard time believing that. Every single Monday night, I'm interacting with you guys on social media. I'm reading the Twitter feeds. I see nothing but a lot of love for Braun Strowman. When I go to Tuesday nights and I go to SmackDown, I see a majority opposite. Baron Corbin is supposed to be this lone wolf, this mean, menacing dude that like you don't want to mess with him. You don't want to get in his crosshairs because he's a bad mama jamma. You don't want to mess with him. He gonna mess you up. He gonna do a serious number on you. Turn around, go the other way. Boys and girls, I fought my share of people in my lifetime. Okay, I've had fights. I fought people that were like 6'6". I was able to whoop their ass. I got my ass whooped a handful of times. I've had my share of fights back in the day. Let me tell you something. What is being portrayed to me when it comes to Baron Corbin, he does not come off menacing. He does not come off intimidating. You know what I see when I look at Baron Corbin? Quite honestly, what I see is, what was the name of the VH1 show that used to come on back in the day? Not Hard Rock. Oh God, I can't think of the name of the show now. But you had this guy with like blonde hair. I can't think of his name. His name might have been Cage. I don't know. Kane. His name was Kane. And last I checked, he's a rock radio disc jockey out in Los Angeles. But like back in the maybe I want to say late 90s, early 2000s, the guy freaking had a really great show on VH1, and he would host like an hour of rock music. He was really good. Baron Corbin reminds me of that. That is what he reminds me of. Now, to QW in the chat room, OMG, people making a big deal out of who eliminated who. See, understand the words that are coming from out of my mouth. It's not about necessarily the elimination. It is all about making sure that you're getting people over properly that are deserving of being put over properly. Just stop and really think for a minute. Think about what all you have been seeing with your respected WWE programming all these months. You've got Braun Strowman and you've got Baron Corbin. All right? You think about, okay, who's putting the better effort out there in the ring? Majority of people, I bet you if we were to poll people right now, they're going to say Braun Strowman. Okay, now when it comes to the promos, who delivers on the better promos between Braun Strowman, Baron Corbin? I bet you if we polled everybody, everybody's going to say Braun Strowman. Who looks as though they have more of a promising longevity, successful career? Braun Strowman or Baron Corbin? I bet you a majority of the people would say Braun Strowman. If you had to fire one of the following people in order to keep the other, who would you let go? I bet you if we polled people and the options were Braun Strowman, Baron Corbin, majority of people would say, see you later, Baron Corbin. What I don't want for you, the guys that are watching these shows every single week, I want for you guys to be able to make up your own minds. I don't want you guys falling victim to, okay, this is the way WWE wants for you to perceive things. This is who you need to root for. You have a set of eyeballs. You know talent when you see it. You know, hey, this guy, there is something about him. I can't quite put my finger on it, but you know what? Every time I see this guy on my TV, I put my remote down because I want to see what this guy is going to do. This guy's pretty. And so many people that I've spoken to and I interact with in forums and all that, a lot of promise in Braun Strowman. So, dude, it's not about who eliminates who. It is all about the booking. That is what we're homing in on. Okay? Now, just think about it. Just really stop and, don't take my word for it. If you've watched WWE Raw for as long as I have, if you've watched WWE programming for as long as I have, stop and think for a moment. Think as far back as to when Braun Strowman first made his debut on the Raw roster and he was with the Wyatt family. What did all of us say collectively? We said, damn, that big dude, that Braun dude, he looks kind of promising. Wonder how he would fly as a solo act. Sure enough, we got our wish once they did the draft. And what happened? They had him steamrolled through some created wrestlers, as I like to call it. Right? We're like, okay, all right, he's coming along. Then he eventually moved up. He moved up to established people, the Sami Zayns and all that other stuff. And we're like, okay, he's coming along just fine. Now you stop and you rewind it back. You think about that journey that he's been on, and you're going the whole time, all right, he's promising. He's coming along. Baron Corbin has been at a stalemate. He has been at a stalemate since we first laid eyes on him at NXT. That's the God's the honest truth. And if you need any recent example of where Corbin is right now, pull up an episode of SmackDown, I would say from about maybe 3 weeks ago when he was providing commentating. I forgot what the main event match was, but it was some of the most lamest commentating that I had heard in my entire freaking life. And I'm going, okay, I'm supposed to buy into this lone wolf guy. I'm supposed to buy into the fact that this guy's menacing. I'm supposed to buy into the fact that this guy is very intimidating, that you don't want to, cross paths with this guy. You know what I see when I look at Baron Corbin? He reminds me of a damn guy on MTV or VH1 that is like, hey, what's up? My name's Baron Corbin, and you're checking out MTV Metal Underground. This week, we're coming at you guys with a little bit of Black Sabbath. Later on, we're going to give you guys some Overkill. So kick back, get ready to bang your head. That's how Baron Corbin comes off to me. All right? He comes off to me as that meets the bass player of Anthrax. That is how he fucking comes off. There's nothing intimidating about that, boys and girls. The sooner you all realize that, the better. Now, getting back to what I just said. This freaking elimination, it was silly. And let's expand on this elimination even more. You know why it was silly that you had Baron Corbin or that you had anybody else eliminate Braun Strowman and what should have been a dominating performance if booked handedly, if booked properly. I'll tell you what, they also dropped the ball just earlier in the night. Roman Reigns, his match, it was interfered with by Braun Strowman. So where is the storyline consistency? We received no updates that, Roman Reigns was going to be going to a hotel, that he was messed up and he had some eternal injuries or some jazz like that. No, we didn't get that. We did not get that. So if you're just looking out from what has been displayed in front of your eyeballs tonight, you're making an educated conclusion. And there's nothing wrong with that. You're saying, hey, Roman Reigns probably has Braun Strowman's number. Maybe he's going to pay him back at some point during this Rumble match, right? I mean, I would think, right? And that never happened. I do not know who dropped the ball on that. But that was just some of the silliest booking. And you know why it was some of the silliest booking? Because later on in the night, long after Braun Strowman is eliminated, you just have Roman Reigns just casually come on out. And you're like, oh, okay, what the hell? It made more sense to have him cross paths with Braun. Get the payback from earlier. What the hell just happened? So this booking of this Rumble match, it just fell pretty short for me from those standpoints. And then also the fact that we had no surprise entrance. Another letdown. And then we already know that Brock Lesnar, Undertaker, Goldberg, we know that they were supposed to be involved in this Rumble. We're going, okay, so Which one of them are we going to get to come out first? Which one of them is maybe going to be somewhere in the teens? Which one of them is going to be in the, top 20, basically? Nah, basically, the Senior Citizens Club, they decided that they were a little bit too good to come out in the single digits, in the double digits as far as the teams go. They wanted to pretty much come out in like the final 5 spots, basically. Final 6 spots is pretty much how they wanted it to go down. And I just had a hard time stomaching that as a fan, because it's like, wow. So all my favorite guys, the Undertakers, the Goldbergs, the Undertakers, the Brock Lesnars, all these guys. So they're all just pretty much going to come out towards the end. They're going to do about 5 minutes or less, and we're pretty much going to be done with them. Okay. And I tell you what, the fans, they just were not loving that. And I don't blame them for heckling. I don't blame them for booing it, because that was just a poor, sad display. And I'll take it a step further. To the fans, I feel that WWE insulted you all's intelligence, and they insulted your time. They definitely insulted your patience with what was displayed tonight. I like the spot where Brock Lesnar gets in there and he's going toe to toe with freaking Goldberg's going face to face with Brock Lesnar. And it's like, okay, let's see how this comes about. Boom, spear. And pretty much after that, Brock Lesnar is eliminated. So you're like, wow, this guy just got owned like freaking twice. Like, okay, this is interesting. This is a very interesting dynamic. But then shortly after that, we see Brock Lesnar. He got eliminated. Who did he get eliminated by, too? Let me look up Brock Lesnar real quick. Brock Lesnar got eliminated by who got eliminated by, really? Am I reading this right? Enzo Amore? No, Enzo Amore got taken out by Brock Lesnar, but who took out Brock Lesnar? Goldberg took out Brock Lesnar, but who took out Goldberg is my question. I'm sorry, guys. Undertaker. Yeah, Undertaker had eliminated Goldberg. Yeah, Goldberg was at number 28. Undertaker was at number 29 when he had came out. So I tell you, when it came down to pretty much that last spot, those last 2 spots, Taker was at 29. When it came to number 30, so many people were like expecting, okay, surely this is going to be our surprise entrant. Maybe it's going to be Finn Balor. Surely it's going to be somebody like we haven't even thought about in a while that's going to be popping up. And guys, for Roman Reigns to come out, now don't get it twisted. I've always been a big fan of Roman Reigns. The guy goes in there, he puts in the time, he puts in the effort, good quality matches. Anybody that's been listening to my show long enough knows I've always said that about Roman Reigns. Always. But my freaking God, the position that Roman Reigns was in, I feel for the young man. It's not his fault that he was put in at number 30. Now, some people may say, yeah, but Lee, is he at that point in his career where he kind of has enough stroke to say, hey, man, I don't really think I should be at this number because, like, I've been on a decent roll with some of the crowd reactions. It's not as severe as it used to be. Do we really want to put me at this number? We don't really know, guys, if he really was vocal like that. And we probably won't really know unless a situation comes about, you know, where he's done with the WWE and during a shoot or whatever, he reveals that type of information. But for now, we're only led to speculate. We got to deal with the facts. The guy is put in the position of number 30. And I tell you, as if it was somewhat bad for him earlier in the night, 3 times bad when he comes out and he's number freaking 30. The guy got booed out of the damn arena. So much so, you got the crowd chanting, "This is bullshit." They weren't feeling it. They were not feeling it. And at this point, you're kind of like, okay, you know what? Who we got left? It was down to Bray Wyatt, Randy Orton, Chris Jericho, Roman Reigns. You did have Undertaker in there, but Roman eliminated him and told the Undertaker, It's my yard now. So I must admit, I'm a little bit intrigued by that. Is Roman maybe going to be facing The Undertaker at WrestleMania? Could Undertaker maybe be taking on AJ Styles? I mean, you got some interesting dynamics that's going on right there. I must admit, I'm very intrigued by an Undertaker Roman Reigns matchup. I'm very intrigued by that. What I want to see that at this point, if I got to see The Undertaker, me personally, I'm not interested in seeing Undertaker and Old Man Goldberg. I'm just not interested in that right now. That doesn't really do anything for me. If you would have maybe rewinded the hands of time 10 years ago, maybe I would have wanted to see that, but I'm not interested in that right now. I just feel that there would probably at this point be better chemistry and just better physicality between a Goldberg and Roman Reigns matchup. No disrespect to AJ Styles. I know he would definitely be able to deliver as well. But as far as like who Undertaker might dance with, those two jump out at me. I would have no problem with that, quite honestly. So yeah, that whole Rumble match just really it just irked me off. We did eventually see Jericho get eliminated. It pretty much was down to Bray Wyatt, Randy Orton, facing Roman Reigns. They were doing a serious number on Roman. Bray Wyatt saying to Randy Orton, "Finish it off, man. Go ahead. We got this." And we saw Randy Orton. He was getting ready to do the RKO. He got pushed by Roman. Bray Wyatt tried to go in, help, but he got sent over the ropes. It pretty much was down to Roman Reigns, Randy Orton. They were slugging it out, and all said and done, man, you got freaking Randy Orton. He goes down as the 7th individual to win 2 Royal Rumble matches. He is going to be heading into WrestleMania, main eventing at WrestleMania. I would like to think for a title of his choosing, maybe, or I would assume that maybe instead it's going to be for the WWE title that's over on SmackDown. So, a lot of people are kind of looking at that, and some people are kind of frowning because it's like, oh no, not another Cena Orton matchup. Me personally, when it's all said and done, and I like making football comparisons, but I actually would not have a problem with Cena versus Orton, and I'll tell you the reason why. Because there is, for the past couple of years now, there has been a changing of the guard. And I tell you what, Cena, Orton, respectfully, they're not getting any younger. It reminds me a lot of the great Tom Brady, Peyton Manning matchups that we've seen over the years. We knew sooner or later both of those guys, as much as we love them respectively, sooner or later, one of them's going to hang it up. And we know it's not quite going to be the same on Sunday nights. When you look at that card and you see, oh, Patriots are going to be taking on the Broncos, or Patriots are going to be taking on the Colts. We know that after a while, it's not going to be the same because one of those quarterbacks is going to be gone. So when I look at Cena and Orton, if it were, and I'm not saying it is, but if it were to go down at Mania, Cena, Orton for the title, I would have no problem with that, because this could very well be the last time that we see Cena and Orton lock it up for the WWE title. Not to mention, it could be the very last time that we see these two guys respectfully lock it up at the grandest stage of them all, period. Remember, they both were pretty much part of the same OVW class. Both pretty much had kind of came up at about the same time and all that. So I personally would have no problem with it. But I think the real story that we need to take out of this going into the next batch of weeks for SmackDown is, what's the telling story going to be between Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton? Now that Randy Orton has that Mania opportunity, is Bray Wyatt going to become so jaded that he's going to say to Randy Orton, hey man, look, you're my disciple, and understand I brought you into this family for one thing and one thing only, which is to, be loyal to the family. I see all this great potential that's in you and you've represented well, but now you are facing your true test as far as your allegiance to me, which is, in a nutshell, is Bray Wyatt going to say to Randy Orton, you need to cough up that Mania spot. You need to give it to me. Do we maybe see friction from that standpoint? But, so I'm curious to see how that comes about. But I'm just saying, for me personally, I'm not speaking on behalf of all of you all, but I'm just saying for me personally, if it were the last time that we see these guys go at it, and I understand what Joker is saying. He's saying, I understand your point, Lee, about Cena versus Orton being the last time. We might see that, but we don't want to see that at Mania. Do it on SmackDown or another pay-per-view. Well, again, guys, we got 63 days until WrestleMania. All I'm saying is a lot can happen between then. Don't assume. I just put the thought out there that Bray Wyatt may have something to say about this. But, I mean, honestly, let me tell you something, man. If the two were to face off, first off, let's be brutally honest. WWE has done a fantastic job of keeping John Cena and Randy Orton separate from one another. They were well aware of the backlash that they had, got back in the day, because it was like every other month you turned around, those two guys were locking it up. So to WWE's credit, and I'm not defending them, but when they're doing it right, I give them their praise. When they're doing it wrong, I'm on that ass. And I got to give them credit. They kept those guys separated for a good minute. I mean, hell, John Cena has been away from the title picture for a long time. Randy Orton has been away from the title picture for a long time. So, you got to tell the right type of storyline. And it's amazing how times have changed sometimes, because I can remember the long drawn out feud that Shawn Michaels and Triple H had. And I tell you, I did not come across one fan that was like, this shit again. I mean, everybody was just eating the hell out of that. I mean, they had some that was a classic rivalry that they had that was going down. So, I mean, if the storyline is right, it all strings together. If WWE were to kind of dub it in a way like, hey, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, one last time, this is kind of like it. If you can sell it like that and then fucking honor that, then you know what? Fans can get behind it. But if you toy with them, kind of like John Cena versus The Rock, once in a lifetime, meaning like, okay, so this is probably like a one-time deal, but then you do the rematch, not quite the same effect, man. Not quite. But freaking overall, I would have to say that this Royal Rumble event, it was a lot better than the TakeOver event. Barely gets a passing grade for me. When I think about some of the matches that we had got for tonight, honestly, I got to give it up to the Cruiserweight title match. That was probably one of the best matches that we had of the card. I definitely enjoyed the Kevin Owens Roman Reigns match. That was on point. For sure, the John Cena AJ Styles match, that was on point as well. Scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the least, 10 being the highest. I would respectfully have to give Royal Rumble I'll give it a 6.5 out of 10. I would say a 6.5 out of 10. Numbers definitely could have went up a lot higher with better smart booking with regards to that Royal Rumble matchup. And now that I laid it all out to you guys, I think y'all can understand where I'm coming from with regards to that. And I will continue to sing the praises, and I'm being sarcastic with that, but I will continue to lash out, I guess you could say, or admit my over a boring Corbin until I see some leaps and bounds of improvement. Now let's go to you guys. I want to hear what you guys had thought about the Royal Rumble, man. I'm gonna poke my head in these chats, see what you guys are saying. Nothing spells loving like getting private messages while you're on the show. And, it's like, why send me a private message and you're asking me a Royal Rumble question? Put it out there in the open, man. Let's see what's this saying. Yeah, What's the chances we see Finn Balor coming out interrupting a Curtin Owens celebration? Your guess is as good as mine. If it were to go down, I would be so fine for that. I really would. I miss Finn Balor tremendously, man. I hope it goes down. Well, I got you guys' attention. If you've been appreciating the show so far, however you're checking it out, whether it's on YouTube or it's on Spreaker, make sure you click on the like. Feel free to share it. Definitely subscribe. You guys on YouTube, poke your head, check out the playlist that's on there. A lot of great content that's there, especially in our past guest exclusive section. A lot of great interviews that were conducted over the years. Check that out when you guys get the opportunity. I'm just popping my head in the Spreaker chat here, and I'm seeing what you guys are saying. Joe, Lee, if you could, Shield 2.0 without Ambrose, who would you pick to put Rollins? Wait a minute. Let me read that again. Lee, if you could, a Shield 2.0 without Ambrose, who would you pick to put with Rollins and Reigns? That's a good question. I'll save that for Tuesday. Let's see what else we got. I'll remember that question for Tuesday. I'm still popping my head in the Spreaker chat here. Well, I appreciate the comment, man. Lee, been listening to Lee for quite a while now. His podcasts are addicting. Lee has the ability to make you relive the event on his wrap-up shows. Listening to Lee, you can picture the spots he talks about in your head. He is spot on, accurate with his wrap-up details. Joe, I appreciate that as always. Thank you, man. See what else we got. And I'm going to get to that question. I saw you ask that question twice, Joe. I'm going to answer that on Tuesday. So if you can't catch it live, just make sure you scoop it up on the downloads. I got your hookup. Put some question marks at the end, man, if you guys got some questions. Eric Rowan is injured. Last I heard, I'm telling when that guy is going to be coming back. Let's see. Looking at some more comments here. Shout out to Joe. Shout out to Razor. Shout out to Freddie. Y'all just going back and forth with each other. That's cool. I like that. YouTube. Let's show you guys some love. Look at you guys' questions here. What's going on with Brock? Tim Purdue. Honestly, if I'm not mistaken, I think Goldberg is scheduled for an episode of Raw in less than 24 hours. So I think the real question we need to be asking ourselves is Brock Lesnar going to be there? Because if so, is Brock Lesnar maybe going to like come out unannounced, beat the holy crap out of Goldberg? Goldberg's out for a couple of weeks. Do you maybe kind of set up that Mania rematch that way? I would like to think so, but I think that's probably what's going to be going down. Hell, where was Paul Heyman? How would you book WrestleMania 33? That's a good question. Hang on. Let me get that down. How would I book WrestleMania 33? I'm not going to spend all that time answering that question because that would take a good hot minute. Now, if you're asking me how I would book the current card that's intact right now, that's one thing. Like who I would have go over, that's one thing. But if you're asking me if I could just, with the current talent, if I would just from scratch, what type of matches would I set up for WrestleMania 33? That's a totally different question. So what I'll do is I'll answer that two different ways, but I'll answer that question on Tuesday as well. So it's actually nice kind of forwarding some of these questions that we got coming up. And see, I know who I would want in that Shield 2.0. The only thing is he's tearing it up right now with the Authors of Pain. So I'm kind of going in that direction right now. So that kind of gives you a hint where I'm going. Look at some more questions we got here. I'm still looking at YouTube here. Let's see what else we got here. Let's,
1 minute. 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 1
Victor says the Samoan Cena is garbage. Couldn't wrestle his way out of a trash bag. Can't cut a promo in his life. Depended on it. I don't want this bum as the one guy shoved down my throat for 12 years plus, like Cena. Well, Victor, you're entitled to your own opinion, man. And, you know, that's what makes this country so beautiful, man. Kevin Owens versus Lesnar. I agree. That would be an epic freaking match right there. And again, to Adenis 100. Again, how would I rate the Royal Rumble show? 6.5 out of 10. That's honestly how I would rate it. Looking at some more questions here. See a couple of more before we wrap it up. Yeah, for the most part, the crowd didn't give a damn about the entrance. That is, I think we can all be in agreement on that. I mean, they did the little countdown thing, and then once they heard the music and they saw who it was kind of like, oh yeah, okay, whatever. I think honestly, when I look back on the entrance for the Rumble, Undertaker got a nice pop, Brock Lesnar got a nice pop, Goldberg got a nice pop, Enzo got a nice pop. Big Cass got a nice pop. Ambrose got a little something. Jericho got his pop. Sammy even got his pop. Big Show even got a decent pop. Ty Dillinger for sure. He got his pop. Everybody else, it was just kind of like, oh, this person's out here. They were just kind of tolerating it when it was all said and done. I really wish Rey Mysterio would have been in there, though, man. That really would have been awesome. Ambassador Rose, it's one of the worst Royal Rumbles in history. WWE is not entertaining like years ago. Undertaker or Goldberg should have won. Would you really have wanted to see those two old guys win the Rumble, though? Really? I don't know about that one, guys. I don't know about that one. That's a good question. Let's forward that to Tuesday night. Should one of those guys had actually won the Royal Rumble? That's a damn good question. I see some of you guys are going 6 out of 10 for the pay-per-view as well, calling it weak. Let's see what else we got here. Just reading a couple more comments here, and then after that, we're going to roll up out of here. How are we doing on the showtime anyway? Oh, that ain't too bad. An hour, 40 minutes. Yeah, that's pretty good. All right. Just reading some more comments from you guys. Disappointed. Yeah, a lot of you guys in the chat here, man, talking about how disappointed you were with tonight's Royal Rumble, man. Yeah, we're not going to be remembering this Rumble. I think we all can be in agreement. I see a 7. We got a 7 for the Rumble. I see right now a lot of us are honestly going to be remembering that Rumble that's going to be happening in Philadelphia. It's so sad that this Rumble played out the way that it did because, correct me if I'm wrong, this was like the 30th anniversary Rumble. So, yeah. Damn, 4 out of 10. Interesting. And go over to Spreaker one more time. Ambrose to Ellsworth. That was a funny spot. Yeah, I love that. I love Dean Ambrose. Like, come on, we're gonna go in here. We're gonna go in here. We're gonna take out Brock Lesnar. Come on. 3, 2, 1. And he just sent them in there by himself. No, it wasn't Lesnar. It was against Strowman. And Dean Ambrose just let him just fly solo like that. I love that spot. That was pretty fucking funny. That's it, man. We did pretty good. I mean, we covered all the bases so energetically, so passionately as well. I want you to do me a huge favor. For those of you that have the Twitter and the Facebook, make sure you give me a follow. I'm at the RCWR show. I love staying connected with you guys, interact with you in between the shows. And I'm actually going to put a poll up as soon as I shut this down via Twitter. It's going to be the official, how would you rate the Royal Rumble? I want you to be brutally honest. I'll put the options in there, and if the option doesn't apply to you, you can always just tweet me, let me know what your thoughts are about it, and hopefully we can have generated enough votes where we can follow up on it Tuesday night. Also, for those of you that may be listening for the first time, you may not be aware, we got a really cool contest that's going on right now where you can win not one, not two, not even three, but 5 wrestling DVDs from the past, present, or something that's getting ready to come out in the future. Your choice, standard, Blu-ray. All you got to do, take part in our 2016 Wrestling Awards. You have the power. There's no silly little poll where you have to pick this person's name or that person's name, or no, you vote, you type in who you want to be the male wrestler of the year or the female wrestler of the year, rivalry of the year. It's your voice. You let it be heard. So go cast your vote so that you can be entered for a chance to win 5 wrestling DVDs. Go to tinyurl.com/2016 RCWR Awards. One more time, that's tinyurl.com 2016 RCWR Awards. Best of luck to you. We're actually going to be extending the voting contest. So you now have until February 20th. Cutoff date was actually the 6th of February, but we're going to extend it to the 20th. So best of luck to you guys in casting your vote in there. And again, your next edition of the RCWR show, stay tuned. I don't know, man, depending on how significant this Raw that we're about to get is, I may fire up a little something on YouTube. Fingers crossed. But if you ask me honestly, am I expecting a lot of big things to happen on Raw? I kind of am. So we'll play it by the ear. But for now, guaranteed, your next edition of the RCWR show is going to be coming at you on Tuesday night, January 31st. Final day in January. We'll be coming on at 10 p.m. Eastern soon as SmackDown goes off the air. So once again, you know, however you're checking this out, man, whether you're checking that out on Spreaker or you're checking it out on YouTube, make sure you click on the like, the heart, the little favorite, share it all throughout social media, all that good stuff. Really appreciate it. Shout out to everybody that was chatty on Spreaker. Shout out to everybody that was being interactive over on the YouTube channel. A lot of love to you guys. Shout out to, I'm just picking just people's names that really jumped out at me that were really interacting here via YouTube. DM Radio, Joker, QW, what's that? Quincy Walker. There was like 2 other names that kind of jumped out at me. Noe Laura and Ambassador Rose was another one. If I forgot anybody else, I do humbly apologize. But y'all know who you are. Thank you all for representing, checking this out. Really means a lot. Again, we'll see you Monday's pending. Probably not, but I'll definitely see you Tuesday night, 10 p.m. Eastern on Spreaker.com. All the information you need is in the episode description, so check it out. Come on live after SmackDown, and that's going to do it. I wish all y'all to be safe. Most importantly, be kind to one another. I'll see you next go round. Everybody, take care. Good night, YouTube.